the union leadership says, oh, that's great. Here's another chance for us to kind of look at the new jobs that are there, and we get a chance to be part of that expansion, and we'll be able to have more members. Trying to make people think that most people in this country are unionized. Okay? Not necessarily the case. The other part is them basically saying the investments that have been made in hydrocarbons were a mistake. And so, therefore, we go back, and again, after years on Aboriginal Affairs and Northern Development, as it was called back in those days, we are stranding billions of dollars of Indigenous investment with the policies of this government. I have said it before, and I see other people using the term now. We are eco-colonialists. Mm-hmm. We believe that this is best for the Indigenous people of this country. They would love to have jobs working on windmills and solar panels or other types of things. But we should not be encouraging them to continue to invest in, continue to work in the hydrocarbons that they have spent decades perfecting their skills. And if we continue to do that, we are so naive. And if there's always going to be some group that'll say, "Oh yeah, whatever the government says, there's a box to check, and there's going to be this to happen if we do that, and it'll make our lives easier if we've checked off any box that the government has." And it doesn't matter what government, if this is their plan, well, then the best thing to do is to find somebody that really knows how to write a proposal, and then send it to the bureaucrats.
Question de règlement, Monsieur le Président.
Monsieur, point of order.
Simplement par curiosité.
Just out of curiosity, I remember Earl told us last week that we could make the planet a more peaceful planet because of hydrocarbon.
We're talking about eco-colonialism. I didn't know that Earl was a leftist who wanted to fight against colonialism. But my question is, how is this related to the sub-amendment to bring in people from Timmins, James Bay as witnesses? I don't know if eco-colonialists are especially linked to Timmins, James Bay people, but maybe my colleague can explain to me what the link is between eco-colonialism and having people from Timmins, James Bay come as witnesses. I'm curious. I'd like to hear what he says.
Of order, and I think at a very crucial moment of making sure that the comments that are being presented to debate are relevant to the folks, the stakeholders, the individuals who all come from Timmins, James Bay, and the importance of it. So I would ask you, Mr. Dreeshen, to make sure that we get to tying it into the importance of that in making our argument. But before I proceed back to you, Mr. Dreeshen, I have Ms. Latanzio patiently with her hand up online, and I apologize, Ms. Latanzio, if I did not see you earlier, but I do see your hand up, so I want to acknowledge you now on a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. So I'm listening very attentively here this morning, and I thank all members for their interventions. I would like to get clarification from Mr. Dreeshen in terms of the definition and how he defines this new term that I've heard this morning on eco-colonialism or eco-colonialists. I'd like for him to maybe provide me more details with regards to this term. And yes, I agree with my other colleague how this new term is relevant to the sub-amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Latanzio, for your point of order, and Monsieur Simard as well. We are not debating eco-colonialism here at committee today, as we may want to moving forward through a study. So I would ask my colleague to, if it does tie into the relevancy of Timmins James Bay and the inclusion of those stakeholders, that Mr. Dreeshen, you do so, and so these committee members can also think about the importance of your of that connection to eco-colonialism to the sub-amendment introduced by Mr. Falk.
Well, thank you very much, and I noticed that everybody did want to get into the debate on eco-colonialism. First of all, it's been a term that when I was in Environment Committee that people from First Nations have used. So although people might believe that I'm attempting to claim it, it is not mine. But that does happen. That is what has been said. I don't have, as again, I see this melding between my time in environment and my time here at Natural Resources. I tried to look at the mandate letters. I couldn't see any difference between the two. And of course, we have a Minister of Natural Resources that still thinks that he's the Minister of Environment. So I can't remember which one, whether it was discussions here or was discussions there. But I didn't coin it. It is from there. And it's somewhat ironic that when Charlie is here and we talk about his community, I would think that is where you would find a lot of First Nation people that want to be engaged in whatever type of development is going to take place, whether it's building a road to get there, getting the power coming from there. I've had lots of discussions with First Nations leadership from Ontario and talking about this exact commentary. And yeah, they know that if they have to follow the government's mantra, there are certain boxes they have to check off. But they also know that those things that are important to their community, if you have got a higher power that believes that it and it alone dictates how things are going to be done, that is exactly the colonialism that has been part of the discussion for over 100 years.